Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray, hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not from wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless, hold them in thy light. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray, hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not from wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless, hold them in thy light. Teach me all my friends to bless, hold them in thy light.
Thank you.
There's a buzzing sound.
Something is howling. There.
Good.
So we'll chant and meditate together. Sans howling. And, this first chant will be I am Om. The words to this are on page 7 in the chant books for those who want to follow it. I am Om, I am Om, I am Om, I am Om. Omnipresence, I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All blessed, I am Om. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. I am Om, I am Om, I am Om, I am Om. Omnipresence, I am Om. All-pervading, I am Om. All blessed, I am Om. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. I am Om, I am Om, I am Om, I am Om. Omnipresence, I am Om. All pervading, this next chant directly into a short meditation, 5 to 7 minutes. This is rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His love, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His love, in His love. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His joy, in His joy. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Rest in God, live in God, in His light, in His light. Let's meditate together. remaining inwardly focused. Let's listen to these words on today's affirmation topic, consideration for others. This is from Affirmations for Self-Healing by Swami Kriya-yoga. Consideration for others is one of the marks of a refined spirit. Many people on the spiritual path feel that since it is within that they are seeking the kingdom of God, and since they are working at developing a spirit of non-attachment, it doesn't matter how they express themselves to others. Indeed, their inconsiderateness is an affirmation of their independence of the opinions and feelings of others. If God is pleased, they tell themselves, what matters the displeasure of man? Yet by unkindness, we can never please God, who is all kindness itself. Sensitivity to others is a way of self-expansion. One truly achieves freedom in himself when he can respect their realities, because he is wholly at peace with his own. Let's practice this affirmation together now. We'll do it several times, first out loud, then a little more softly, then in a whisper as we take this into the subconscious mind, and finally silently, offering this up into the superconscious mind. Please repeat after me. By sensitivity to others' realities,
By sensitivity to others' realities,
I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth,
I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth,
no matter what garb it wears.
no matter what garb it wears.
By sensitivity to others' realities,
By sensitivity to others' realities,
I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth,
I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth,
no matter what garb it wears.
no matter what garb it wears.
Now say the affirmation in a whisper and offer this into the subconscious mind. By sensitivity to others' realities,
By sensitivity to others' realities,
I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth,
I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth,
no matter what garb it wears. Now practice the affirmation silently while I say it out loud. Offer this into the superconscious mind at the point between the eyebrows. By sensitivity to others' realities, I keep myself in readiness to perceive the truth, no matter what garb it wears. Pray silently with me. Divine Mother, I worship thee in all thy forms, both ignorant and wise. Finding thee within, may I behold thee enshrined in omnipresence.
And from Whispers from Eternity, demand to find God at any time, anywhere. Teach me, O Father, to find thee in the cave of my heart, that I may walk with thee everywhere. Teach me to hear thee in silence, that I may hear thy voice beneath other outer noises. Teach me to find thee in inner peace, that I may be with thee calmly in the midst of outer tumult. Hubbub or silence, tumult or peace, I care not, so long as thou wilt teach me to find thee anywhere, at any time.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, once again, and welcome to Sunday service. Welcome to those joining online. I'm reading today from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and Bhagavad Gita. These are written by Swami Kriya-yoga based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. This week's topic is abiding in God. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. Yogananda often emphasized, more often to his disciples than to the general public, but also to everyone generally, for it was a universal teaching, the importance of attunement. For divine understanding cannot be created, it must be perceived. To the disciples, Yogananda spoke of the importance of attunement with the Guru. To others, he urged the importance, at least, of attuning oneself to higher consciousness. Can an eagle rise without support from the sustaining air? Jesus Christ said in the Gospel of St. John, I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. How can we, quote, abide in him, end quote, Jesus says, if my words abide in you? By words he meant not only his spoken words, but his vibrations, his consciousness, of which the words are only an expression. We must abide by the teachings, but we must also absorb those teachings into ourselves, that they become our own experience. For disciples of this path, the more in their hearts they live consciously in the presence of the masters, the more they will find the divine presence living within them. And for all truth seekers, whether disciples or not, the more they live sustained inwardly by the awareness of God's presence, the higher they will find themselves soaring in wisdom and joy. The Bhagavad Gita says in the 10th chapter, I am the source of everything. From me all creation emerges. Blessed with this realization, the wise, awe-stricken, adore me. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om. This topic, abiding in God, is an interesting one because we can't, in a certain cosmic sense, we can't help but abide in God. We are in God, whether we like it or not. But we don't always choose to abide in God. In other words, our consciousness can be running as far away as it can get, as quickly as it can get. I can remember as a child being told to go sit in the corner for one transgression or another, and sort of struggling with the concept of sitting in the corner because I was all wiggly and I wanted to be running around outside, or I wanted to be doing anything else but sitting in the corner. And it's an interesting question because if our consciousness is running away and yet we live, it's sort of like a fish in the ocean. A fish except for the few that jump out of the ocean briefly to fly through the air, we sort of lose awareness of what's around us. I remember doing construction work in a number of really, really beautiful places. I had the blessing to work on the coast, on the Pacific coast in Sonoma County, and a little bit in Marin County, and literally looking at the ocean while we worked. And part of the time, one particular job in March, the whales were coming north and we got to watch the whales going by. And in November, as we were finishing the house, the whales were coming back south and we got to watch them make the return trip. And I just remember thinking, this is a blessing. This is not to be taken for granted. And likewise, when I worked at Crystal Hermitage to help construct that facility, We started by building around the dome and then building literally over the top of the dome. I remember coming to work, and that job went for 6 or 7 months. And we stood looking at that. If any of you have seen, and I assume many of us here have seen the view from Crystal Hermitage. I mean, it is just stunning. And every day I came to that view. And in some cases, I couldn't help but see that view because I was practically standing right over it, building the roof over the dome. But I remember thinking to myself, look at it. Every single day, look at it and say thank you. Because it's so easy to forget what we're seeing. We get accustomed. Have you ever I did this exercise last year, and I need to pick it up again because it's a useful one. I printed the affirmations that we practice every week. So like the one we just did today about consideration for others. I printed them and I put them on the refrigerator. I got a magnet and I stuck them on my refrigerator. Well, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but you put the instructions for how to do the recycling on the refrigerator. You put the schedule for this or the other thing on the refrigerator. And you see it, 2 times, 3 times? And after that, it's just part of the furniture. It's just something that's there, but it's not, we lose the conscious connection to it. I think that's a little bit of what is being suggested here, is that we simply say to God in whatever form, be it Divine Mother, be it Heavenly Father, be it one of the masters, be it any higher self, spirit, however we relate, I want to connect. We have to get connected. I have studied for many years, having been part of spiritual community since my teens, and wanting to help nurture the creation of spiritual community around the world in many, many forms. 3 different continents and lots of different countries. I have observed what a deep, deep blessing community is. However it is formed, whether it is in one building, whether it's on one piece of land, whether it's scattered across a whole metropolitan area, just to feel connected is an urgent need for everyone. It's not optional. I remember Nirmala and I in Seattle, the first apartment that we had, while we were getting ready to purchase what became the Seattle community, the Ananda Seattle community, we lived in an apartment complex nearby, within, several miles away. And it was a nice place. It had a nice swimming pool. The apartments were really quite spiffy. Nirmala never forgot the walk-in closet. There was a walk-in closet. A walk-in closet and 2 bathrooms, the his and the hers. It worked. It really did work. It was a good place. Swami even stayed there once or twice. So, it was nice on many levels. We never knew a single neighbor. I got to know the manager who lived down the hall because I would have to call him sometimes in the middle of the night because someone was drunkenly pounding on all the doors trying to figure out which door was his. And, we had to sort of reorient him back to where he was trying to get. But otherwise, we didn't know anybody. And it's like that almost universally. Who is my neighbor? Who do we know? We need to have the connection with people that develops over time and deepens over decades, not just over, a few months. People come, people go. We work with someone for a little while and then they get transferred somewhere else. And, we sort of lose that connection and it's very superficial. And I don't know about you, but I personally find that very disappointing and kind of frustrating. If you're going to talk with someone, you want to make an actual connection. And that's part of this. And I think of the connection with God, and I think for most people, at least this is the way I was raised, God was sort of like a la the Sistine Chapel, way far up and way far away, and not necessarily all that desirable to connect with, kind of the shaking of the finger and the stern expression on the face, not the loving father, mother, friend, brother, sister, whatever, however we may think of it. You don't think of God as your cat that jumps on your lap and just wants to be petted and loved. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's this sense of roar, I will judge and I will condemn and I will, whatever, separate the wheat from the chaff and all this. And even the reading today is a little bit suggestive of, if you're not connected, you're hosed. You're going to get clipped off. You're going to get tossed into the fire, and it's a big problem. Here's how I think of it. It's not so much, if I gaze back just on this lifetime, and I kind of distill out of all the years, the most relevant, the most important experiences, it's like there is an awful lot that can go on the fire. There's an awful lot that's pretty much irrelevant because it wasn't useful. It was just sort of the filler. It was the in-between. It was the chaff that helped the wheat to grow maybe, but there's no nourishment in it particularly. If we look to the saints and the masters, we see a life that is rich with meaning and continuous effort to connect, to maintain that connection, to deepen that connection. I think of Swami Kriya-yoga because we got to observe him at close quarters and saw how condensed, many of the stories you'll hear us tell came from the years when we lived in India with him in the same house. And watching him go through the day, it's not like he didn't read the newspaper or eat his breakfast or have a cup of tea in the afternoon. He did. He did some mundane, routine things, but always with an eye towards what's the next step? How can I deepen this connection? And I was very touched by something. I was working on something yesterday related to St. Francis. And, we're taking some of us are going on a pilgrimage in September to Italy and walking in the footsteps of St. Francis. And I might add, walking in the footsteps of Yogananda, who walked in the footsteps of St. Francis and was very touched by his life, called him his patron saint, which is just a very endearing way to think of it. But one of the things that touched me is Francis grew up as a troubadour, as a singer, as the life of the party. He was a very, very wealthy man's sole heir. He was the son and heir, and he could basically throw the party, and he did all through his youth. He was a party person, and he loved to sing, he loved to dance, he loved to just be with friends. And that sort of instinct, and he also had this instinct to strive for achievement or to strive for some worldly acclaim. He went to war in Perugia. It's kind of amazing and amusing both, and a little frightening to think that Perugia is, it's only about 15 miles away from Assisi. It really is not very far. It's kind of like Rancho Cordova is going to go to war with Sacramento, except Sacramento's a little too big. But anyway, they just, they went sailing off on their horses and they were going to capture Perugia and achieve great glory. Except that he got captured and he was imprisoned and he was ill for a long time, like a year, and he was ransomed finally home. And then his life really shifted. But interestingly, what's a part of what touched me about his story is he's at home, he's ill, and his life is starting to change. He's starting to ask questions and wonder. And he has these experiences. And the experiences are divine. They're coming to him from God, saying, your life has to move in a different direction. And later on, as he's praying in a little church that's kind of all dilapidated and doesn't even have a roof on it anymore, it fell in, he hears the voice of Christ say, rebuild my church, which, as you can see, is in ruins. So what does he do? He gets some mortar and he gets some bricks and he starts stacking bricks and building up the wall and rebuilding the church that he could see. And we later found out, Nirmala pointed this out to me, I had read this before, but it somehow hadn't stuck. In so doing, he didn't have masonry experience. He didn't have anyone training him. He didn't have anyone teaching him how to rebuild this arch that goes up to the top of the church. He created a new kind of arch that became a model for the Renaissance. I mean, it's like, and that is all traced back to Francis at San Damiano and at the Portiuncula. I mean, it's astonishing. He achieved fame without ever even looking for it. Now, that's just one tiny little way. But then he goes on because he's just trying to keep connected. He's trying to, what's next? How can I deepen this? And he has this desire to create an order, to create a grouping of monks, which he does. Well, then he has to get approval from the Pope. And just to get to the Pope at all. I mean, it's a huge thing. And then there's this whole divine experience that the Pope has, and he has this dream, and Francis is holding up this structure that's about to fall over. And so he ends up seeing Francis and giving him approval. Francis goes on to sing and perform for people, which is very odd for a monk to do. But he comes to a ceremony where they are knighting someone, initiating someone into knighthood. And Francis comes and he decides, I need to sing. This is the sort of thing that I would have died for as a kid, is to sing for this, to perform for this kind of thing. Except this time he's singing to God. And he's challenging them to repent, which is to say, to look inside and cut away the stuff that's in your life that's not relevant, that's not useful. Look for the real connection. And afterwards, the person involved in this ceremony comes to him and says, I can't just run away from my life. I have a role to play. I have a responsibility, but I want to help you. And the way the book expresses it, very Catholic sort of expression, and for the health of my soul, I want to give you some land, which he does do. And it turns into La Verna, which is the place where Francis received the stigmata. And so part of what touched me is we have, as a child, we come in with certain instincts, with certain desires, with certain sort of tendencies. And it's not as if all of that gets thrown out the window. What happens is we offer it up and it comes back to us at the time and in the way that can be most uplifted and blessed in the world. And it's not that anything is ever lost. It's just refined. It's just brought up to the highest level. And I've always been a little disappointed that the word attunement isn't in the dictionary. If you ever go to put that in one of your word games or whatever, you'll find it's like it's not accepted. No, sorry, attunement. You can say attune, yes, but not attunement, no, wrong, not a word. But it is a word because we need to get that attunement, that on the same note, on the same wavelength with life. Now you can think of this as just life. You can think of it as higher consciousness. You can think of it as God. You can think of it as your guru. You can think of it as whatever resonates for you, whatever is useful to you to see. But this is a universal urge, a universal calling. Swami Kriyananda, as a young person, had this, he described it as this desperation to understand. And I think that's a critical piece. It's like most people kind of go along in life. The last words of a song that Swami wrote, "What a fool was I to turn away." We turn away from life. We turn away from God or from the light or from whatever it is that will give us higher consciousness because it demands our heart. It demands our attention. It demands our full commitment. And we go, no, I think I kind of want to read the newspaper or I can watch whatever the movie is that's playing or do something else. But we can never achieve that fulfillment without offering our heart. I had this experience in high school as a freshman in high school. I was running a race and it was back in those days, it was the 440 was the quarter mile. Now it's the 400 meters. But anyway, it was on an indoor track. And I remember I was running second behind someone who was just in front of me. And as we came around the last turn, I just stepped on the gas and gave it everything I had. And of course, at that point, your legs kind of turn into, rubber noodles. I mean, it's just like, you feel like you just landed in molasses and you're trying to get the lap. But anyway, I gave it everything I had and I just beat the guy. And as it happened, set the freshman record at my school at least for a little while. I'm sure it's long since gone by now. But anyway, I didn't realize that there was somebody right behind me catching up to me who would have caught me in another 5 yards further down the track and probably beaten me. But interestingly, it took me a while after that race, it took me a while to be ready to give that much again because it took a lot. It sort of took everything that I had. And that experience is exhilarating on one level and it's a little frightening on another because it's like there's no barrier at that point. It's just, I offer myself. Well, Francis lived that way. And Francis lived that way to the extent he abided in God, you can say, to the extent that Christ would come and sit on a table and talk with him in the flesh. So, I mean, it was, you can just say, a very powerful magnetism. And the topics in the coming weeks will talk about that connection, that magnetism that can draw God's presence. But for us, wherever we find ourselves, that is where we are planted. That's where God is saying, okay, you're here, I'm with you here. Not there, not someplace else, not after I've meditated for 8 hours or for 25 years or for whatever. I'm here now. Will you connect with me now? That's the call to all of us. Get connected, stay connected. That's the call of community on every level. Find people of like mind, find people to connect with that you feel a heart resonance with, and then nurture that connection. Because it's not enough to just get connected once and then sort of walk away from it. It's something that has to be nurtured and developed and drawn upon. And that's what we've dedicated our lives to here, and that's what we want to share with the world, is to try to help people, because in a sense what we're really saying is, we're really saying let's do yoga. And I don't just mean the hatha yoga kind, the posture pretzel pose kind. I mean the yoga that says let's self-integrate, let's connect inside and share that connection with the world so that the world can also get integrated and connected more deeply.
Come gather round, let joy sing out today. Dawn now is breaking, and the mountains say, it's only light can make the darkness bright. Lift up your head the rising sun. Greet the rising sun. Some people flee to harvest happiness by weeding troubles, easing every stress. The trouble is that troubles never end. Get rid of one and you face its friend. And you face its friend. It's in your heart. The songs of joy resound. You'll hear the echoes in the world around. Without a hill sounds lonely if you're sad, free if you're free, cheerful if you're kind, cheerful if you're glad. Friends, come with me, we'll chant of battles won, once not of anger, joy will be our God. Before the light, the veils of sorrow rend. In inner freedom, all delusions end.